Humanity has spent decades watching the skies, mapping the stars, only to realize that something up there might be watching us back. The following evidence is drawn directly from the classified archives of the Department of War, the FBI, and United States Central Command. In 1947, Army Air Force's intelligence formally requested FBI assistance to investigate the background of witnesses who reported what they called flying discs. Today, that paper trail has been replaced by digital mission reports. Modern sensors are tracking objects that share the same flight characteristics recorded at the start of the Cold War. Mission logs from CENTCOM describe glowing spheres, metallic triangles, and diamond-shaped craft. Over Iraq and Syria, pilots report these objects outmaneuvering advanced targeting pods, often vanishing before a positive identification can be made. This volume of tracking, moving from paper memos to thermal sensor data, points to a persistent physical presence in our airspace. We are looking at a documented history of encounters that currently lacks a conventional explanation. To manage public concern in the late 1940s, the military adopted a strategy of dismissal. Sightings were categorized as optical illusions, weather anomalies, or simple misidentifications of stars and aircraft. Documents from that era, like this clipping regarding Project Saucer, reveal an official effort to frame the phenomenon as a failure of recognition, a mild form of mass hysteria. However, restricted 1949 reports contradict the mass hysteria narrative. This log describes a circular object up to 100 feet in diameter. It moved at 600 miles per hour, but as the final item confirms, left no exhaust trail. Similar data points appear in modern missions. In the Arabian Gulf, pilots frequently lose lock on glowing objects that show no visible means of propulsion or heat exhaust on their thermal displays. The mass hysteria and weather anomaly theories struggle to account for objects that register as physical, intelligently controlled signatures on both radar and infrared sensors. If these objects are physical craft, the next investigative step is geopolitical. The logical fear for decades has been that they represent breakthrough technology developed by a foreign power. By 1947, the FBI was already investigating whether the Soviet Union had successfully developed flying disc missiles after years of experimentation. An Olmsted Air Force Base report from 1949 describes a cylindrical craft descending slowly into an overcast. It was observed emitting a specific orange and white flame, a trait that suggested a unique fuel source. That 1940s description of a cylindrical craft is mirrored in a 2023 report from the United Arab Emirates. Pilots there observed a glowing UAP with a vertical cylindrical pole attached to its base, moving at 163 knots. The difficulty with the adversary theory is the timeline. It assumes a nation developed physics-defying aviation in the 1940s, kept it hidden for 80 years, and never utilized it in a single conflict or allowed a single technological leak. This leads to the final earthly possibility. These objects belong to compartmentalized, secret U.S. military testing programs. But internal records from the Department of Defense show that the people tasked with protecting our airspace were genuinely baffled. This 1950 memorandum on anomalous luminous phenomena is one of many that reveal a search for answers. High-level experts stated they knew of no U.S. experiments that could explain these objects. In fact, investigators struggled to recommend funding for new projects without being able to identify the origin of the ones they were already seeing. Far from a secret testing program, the classified files revealed that senior intelligence officers and pilots were reporting these encounters with the same level of confusion and concern as the public. When the data rules out natural phenomena, foreign adversaries, and secret domestic technology, the investigative funnel for an earthly origin effectively runs dry. If human technology and natural phenomena have been ruled out, we are left with the final, most uncomfortable category of investigation. High-level strategic planners within the French military conducted a 3-year study into these anomalies, drawing on nearly 500 detailed international cases. Their conclusion was that the data points toward unknown flying machines with exceptional performance that appear to be guided by a natural or artificial intelligence. The French group ultimately determined that the most plausible explanation for the documented evidence is the extraterrestrial hypothesis. This bridges the timeline from the 1940s to today. Whether it is a circular disk over Seattle or a glowing sphere over the Persian Gulf, the flight behaviors remain consistent. These craft outmaneuver our fastest interceptors and demonstrate a level of control that current aviation cannot match. They show no overt hostility, but they maintain a constant presence around our military installations. The historical pattern is documented, the surveillance is ongoing, and the investigative options have narrowed to a single unsettling point. To see how these patterns align with other declassified files, subscribe to The Explainer.